Hello, this is your directions for your Thursday and Friday this week. It's going to be another 2-day lesson. What we're going to do today is a gizmo about why we have seasons, kind of as our first introduction, kind of a continuation of the workbook pages you guys did on Tuesday. Okay, so in the folder for this week, you now have a folder for Thursday and Friday. When you open that up, you will see there is the assignment and the website to get to Gizmo if you need. Okay. On the assignment, as always, there's the attachment. Okay, so open that up, take that, of course, to Notability. Okay. And since the 2-day assignment on here, you'll see it is broken down. As usual, we've got a little introduction and warm up here. Okay, activity A, which you'll work on. So you'll work on the warm up here, as well as activity A for Thursday. And then I've got this line here drawn, if you'd like, so you can stop there and work on activity B, which is longer than, as you can tell here, it's more time consuming than activity A was. So that can be left on its own for day 2, Friday. So your choice. If you happen to want to get it all done Thursday, go ahead, that's fine. But the kind of the blue line is just a suggestion of where a good breaking point is for you to divide this up between your Thursday and your Friday work time. Okay. On here, you can see the reminder of your login. Okay, if you need, it's been, we just had winter break, so maybe you forgot. So let's go to Gizmo. Once you get logged in, you'll find the Gizmo that is titled Seasons, Why Do We Have Them? Okay. And on here, you're going to start out, there's a lot of tabs for this gizmo you'll see at the top here. So we're going to start out in the tabs for the warm-up and activity A. We're going to be on this plate one. And what that is doing here is we're kind of testing, for those of you flat earth curious people, we're going to kind of test out flat earth here and see if earth was a flat plane, would we have seasons? And if we tilted it even, as we know, would those tilts still reflect seasons? Okay, so to go ahead and get started, if you want to walk through a bit of this with me. So the first part here, you're going to brainstorm what you know about these locations. Okay, so letter A is mostly pointing to, like, let's say Greenland. If you don't know much about Greenland, you could scan anywhere else in the similar kind of distance from the equator there. So anywhere in northern Canada, Alaska, over here in Norway, northern Russia, any of those kind of northern states or countries. And then here, B is my arrow, my best guess of where Minnesota or any of the northern United States would be located there. C is kind of anywhere here in the Caribbean or in Central America or northern South America, so pretty close to the equator. And then D would be anywhere in the southern hemisphere, but further away from the equator, so kind of like Chile or Argentina or South Africa or anywhere, Australia, maybe the southern parts of Australia. Okay, kind of guessing what those places may be like and how those maybe differ from our northern hemisphere cities, A, B, and C. Okay, so just kind of go ahead and explain what you know about those, which ones would have snow, which ones will never get snow, and which ones of those is December the warm month or is July the warm month, because not everybody is cold and icy right now like us. If we were to travel the world, we could definitely go somewhere hot and sunny right now. All right. After you get that first warm-up done, then we're going to just kind of play around with our tools in the first gizmo. Like I said, that's where we are going to play with this plate. So I'm going to leave it at its original setting here, which is 0. If I can get back perfectly to 0. Close enough. Okay. And then I've got this fire button here, which is going to launch some radiation or solar energy at the plate representing Earth right now. Okay, flat Earth. When I launch it, it's going to launch what it says here is a number of 100, lines of radiation. And when it's flat like this, all 100 hit the plate. Okay, if I am to tilt it, so in order to adjust this purple one here, now that it's gone gray, I need to hit reset again. Okay, so now that I can adjust it, let's tip it pretty extreme. Let's go all the way to 80 here. Okay, and if I fire, you can see that not all 100 of the radiation, the solar energy lines, hit the plate anymore. So it's actually absorbing a lot less energy than it did when it was upright. Okay, so that's just kind of the first part here as we're playing around with that. As you can see, you've got a couple questions to answer it. Okay, plate M is just the name of flat Earth there. Okay, you're going to do the straight up, the original motion it is there. Then you're going to do the angle at 40 degrees. Okay, and see how you get a different result. Once you've got a hang of that after this little warm up here, then you're going to go ahead and do that specifically at all these different angles. Okay, we've got some negative angles here first. Negative angles just mean simply that we're going to tilt it towards with the northern point towards the sun. Okay, and the positive, simply tilt it the other way. Okay. So you're going to go through both of those. Each time you'll fire, you'll record what you got for the hits. Then you'll change the you'll have to reset, change the angle, and record your hits. Okay, filling out those two charts. Okay, you can see the hits down here. You also can go, let's see, I forget the table here. You can also see the table here. So if you want to just kind of work harder, you want to clear it. If you want to kind of just work smarter, not harder, you could go ahead and pick out each of your numbers, and that's not perfect, but you could fire them and you can just build your table here and then copy paste or maybe even screenshot and fill it in here. Okay, that's one option. Or each time you can just stay right here on the description tab and just watch down here the number get recorded and copy that into your chart. Your choice. Okay. All right. So once you've taken a look at how the radiation, or the hits as they're calling it, the sun's energy hits the plane at different angles, okay, and how much is actually absorbed, then you've just got some analysis questions here. That's enough for Thursday. Okay. If you want to continue, you're welcome to. Then you're going to go on to activity B. Okay. Now we're actually going to look at round spherical Earth. The real Earth. Sorry, flat earthers. Okay. So we've got round Earth here. When I switch the Earth tab here. So activity B is we're going to stay on this Earth one, and we're going to actually navigate through most of these here. It doesn't tell you to take a look at the bar graph or the graph, but honestly, I think those are a little helpful with some of your analysis. So after you've recorded your data, take a peek at those and just see an image of the data as well. I think you'll get a better understanding. This little check mark here is nice. You can check it and see the numbers show up on the graph. Okay, so an explanation on what you're going to do, similar to the day before, but we just simply have a spherical object now instead. Here we can check the box for show axis. You're going to do that later in activity B, but you could go ahead and start to do that from the beginning. Okay, you've got again the bar here where you can tilt it. The first part of activity B, though, if you read the directions, you're going to leave it straight up. Okay, then the second part here, you're going to actually hit Earth's axis angle. Okay, if you see here, we're actually tilted at a 23.5 degree angle, which is a nice, good, slight tilt here. Okay, every planet in our solar system and other solar systems is all tilted at a different angle, some even nearly 90% all the way tipped over. Okay, so that's our angle is 23.3. So if you just click that button, it'll get it right where it needs to be. Okay, you'll stay in this description thing here. As you can see, you've got time frame A and time frame A plus 6 months. You'll eventually at the end find out that one of those is representing summer and one of those is representing winter for the northern hemisphere. But they're keeping it generic right now, calling it time A, and then time A plus 6 months, meaning half a year later. In other words, the opposite season. When I select this, one thing that is confusing is it doesn't look like much changes when I change that. The biggest thing that changes is the sun goes over here. Now, that kind of is misleading because we know that the sun doesn't move around us. Rather, what really would be taking place here is that the Earth would travel around to the other half of our orbit, to the other side of the sun. But they're kind of taking the easy method here by simply drawing the sun on the other side of the picture, okay? But that's what that's representing there, is we are one half of the orbit here on this side. Kind of pay attention to the axis is tipped away from the northern part, at least tipped away from the sun. When we click plus 6 months, now we're kind of tipped towards, so we've made it to the other half of our orbit. So just kind of watch that. The picture's not very clear on that part. All right, so taking a look back at our Notability file here, okay? So you're going to kind of take a look at the different plates. So now instead of having the straight up and down plate, they're now representing the Earth with as if we put flat surfaces throughout the planet, okay? And they're representing those as A, B, C, D. You're never really going to look at the L and stuff like that. You'll see them show up on the table because the Earth spins. So L and J and K and I are going to get, in one day's time, are still going to get sunlight just like ABC, just not at this very moment, but in the next 24 hours, they're going to get the same amount, K will get the same amount of sunlight as C will over here because the Earth is spinning. Okay, so just kind of keep that in mind. You will see them show up in your table, your bar chart, things like that, but you're not going to need to record them on the chart, okay, or any of our work here. We mostly work on the sun side of the diagram. All right, so you'll work through some basic questions here. Then, similar to what you did in Activity A, you're going to take some data when you fire the radiation at the planet. Okay, so when you do that, you've got the angle here. So if we're going to switch it to Earth's angle, and I hit fire, I've got all that data here. Like I said, you're going to see the currently nighttime side of the Earth down here, but you're not going to need to record those numbers. We're going to kind of stop at G. Okay, just looking at the current day side of the planet. So you record the angles and the hits. Okay. And then some more analysis about that, okay, as well as a summary question here. I've given you a couple tips of words I want you to include in your summary sentences in order to make sure that you have a complete summary sentence hitting the main point of what it is exactly that causes us on planet Earth to have seasons, okay? So make sure to include those words, and I think you'll end up with an excellent summary. All right, well, that is your work for Thursday and Friday. If you haven't heard from your science teacher yet, make sure that you are in Zoom live, ready to go for the whole time next week. Okay, I believe it's the 14th and 15th, Thursday and Friday, just one or the other, depending if you're A or B, or if you have a special schedule, you can go the opposite day if needed. But you need to attend either Thursday or Friday for your whole Zoom session for science class, because our high school, Egan High School, has counselors, 9th grade counselors, joining us to tell you a ton of information about what you need to know about registering for high school, as well as giving you some time to ask any questions that you have. So make sure to be there for that. That is a must-come time. That's a lot of information. Also, check out next week. You're going to get a couple videos that come up in Flex class, which will also remind you about in science class, that will also give you explanations on how to register for high school. All right. Have a good weekend, and we'll give you something new on Monday.